People that accuse me, the ones who beat me down and bruise me, they hide just out of sight, can't face me in the light. They'll return, but I'll be stronger. Gotta want to dream again, take me where I've never been. I wanna go there, this time I'm not scared. Now I am unbreakable, it's unmistakable. No one can touch me, nothing can stop me.
Good afternoon, everyone, and we welcome you back to the country's premier league in League of Legends, the Bacchus Pro Gaming Series 2017 Summer Split. I'm Volkan, and with me is Rockhard. We'll be your casters for the opening match 2.
That's right, and this is going to be, of course, JSK Esports versus IPT. And the stakes of this game, this is basically 4 playoffs, baby.
For playoffs, and let's look at the schedule to see the upcoming matches. Obviously, as you said, match 2 would be Imperium Pro Team versus JSK Esports, and coming up next would be Asian Arena against TNC, which is a match 3. This is a 2-game series, point-based. Let's see what will happen in match 2.
That's right, point-based. 1 win, you get a point, and 2 wins, you get free. So you want to see the standings because, of course, everyone's still fighting for points here. JSK Esports can take a total of 3 for the day, so they can reach up to 7. And meanwhile, of course, IPT, they want to fight for Mineski as well for keeping up on the playoff standings.
Yes, the top 4 teams will be making it to playoffs. And looking at the standings so far, we have a lot of neck and neck in terms of scores, but I hope that when it comes to Week 4 Day 2's end, we're going to be seeing some distinct teams who might make it to playoffs entering the Rampage stage, the Rampage stage for the finals.
That's right, because you see that scoreline, everyone's really neck and neck on the bottom side of that. They want to reach that top 4 spot. And yeah, Mineski and IPT, they can't really be complacent yet, because they really have to fight and show off their skills if they want to retain that spot.
And if you want to show off your skills in terms of drawing rock art, I think we have something for our summoners out there.
That's right, we have a digital fan art contest. This is going to be a digital, of course. It's something that you draw on a computer. It has to feature at least one from one of our 8 teams. One player. One player. That's right.
For each team. And if you want further details, you can check our website. Check the article at eatsports.garena.ph/PGS. And to the summoners out there who loves our stream so much, you get your chance to win yourself a mystery gift. We are running the Share and Win promo. What this is that you'll be seeing this hashtag code. Using that hashtag code, you have to share our link on your Facebook profile publicly with the link to the stream. Let it be the gaming.youtube link or the Facebook Live.
That's right. And of course, that's 5 mystery gifts. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and share that once it comes up, and you'll have a chance to win.
You will have your chance to win yourself a mystery gift. So, IPT against JSK. What are your thoughts in entering this match?
So initially, of course, IPT is of course very high up on the standings, and for good reason. They have been showing up on these games, and this has been very consistent. They have been very consistent in showing off their skills. Meanwhile, JSK has had some flops on the previous week, although of course we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm pretty sure they have recovered they really seem ready to fight.
So entering this week for the second day, IPT should be at the top of their game. We did see that their sister team TME has been performing exceptionally well, and IPT will have to try and match that momentum.
Yeah, exceptionally well is 100% win rate.
Mhm.
That is exceptionally well. And IPT is not one team to back down from a challenge like that. Of course, internally, they will have that mindset of getting into, of course, catching up to a very successful team. And they're going to start off with a really solid pickup as well with Saya, which does have 100% on a player in TME, which is Marky.
And remember the interview we had with Jengski Esports' mid laner Fade. His dream is to play on the Rampage stage of 2017. So he is just aiming to make it to the playoffs and fulfill his dreams. But I think everyone here in the PGS has the same dream as Fade. He did say that their fumbles in game 1 was the reason why they lacked one shot caller and everyone was on their own. So this is something that Jensky has been fixing. Let's hope entering this match they have completely remedied their disadvantage entering this match.
Yeah, I would like to think the shot calling for Jensky would be, I think I would associate that for more of the support role. I think and then as well, picking a Tom Kench into that, of course it gives you some sort of safety. Knowing that your champion won't be too pressured while you're thinking up of these plays. Meanwhile, on the side of IPT, they're going for really hard damage mages, even in the support role. Everything here is basically AP. That's kind of risky. You might want to build... that's going to be very telegraphed on the other side with Jensky. They should be able to build up with resistances to match the type of composition that IPT is creating.
I love the bans coming from Jensky, focus in the top side. A lot of bans coming from the jungle side also, whereas IPT, they are also returning favor and removing spears literally, because we did see that he did use it very efficiently, and I don't think IPT is going to risk it.
And those spears from the game that you saw where they were diving back and forth, he was go diving on 2 people. That was really scary. So really respect there. And now we have everything locked in, and this should be a very fun game.
Yeah, I mean that literally that invaded the whole space of the base, went just so deep but still managed to get a double kill.
Right.
I think IPT recognized Spears as literally and just banned it out.
Yeah, right off the bat, right? They're really scared of that, and the created lineup again for IPT. I'm not sure where the power is. The Saya is something that you want to see banned out, or maybe you want to focus more damage, AD damage on the AD carry, but I don't know. They spread out the magic damage everywhere.
And also their composition is composed of magic damage, but for Jensky's side, more on a balance.
Yeah, it's very balanced. I like the Renekton on top. I'm sure you do too. And with the Caitlyn, I think this is going to be a basic Renekton Caitlyn frontline backline with supports on the side. What do you think? How is IPT going to pull off? Where would the focus be on the side of IPT? Where would the ganks be?
I gotta say it would be on to the bottom lane, because Suzaku on a cannon will be split pushing a lot in the top side to match the aggression from Whistle on that Renekton. So when it comes to gank wise, Ivalice will be having his work cut out, maybe going for the mid to bot lane. Yeah,
and Spear will also have his work cut out here with the bottom lane for IPT. It's gonna be very difficult to gank this as a J4.
And it's also difficult because for IPT side too, because we're seeing a Tom Kench on that Caitlyn. So there is that safety and that speed boost when a Tom Kench eats his allies. So they have that safety. So Ivalice will having a hard time, same as Spear. So it's more of an even matchup. I guess when it all comes down is timing.
Right. But what do you think about the mindset of IPT coming into this game, knowing that they are ahead in the standings and Jensky with a few fumbles from the previous games?
Well,
do you think they have recovered already?
I think Jensky slowly but surely are recovering from their lack of a decent shot caller and order and authority. So I think this is Jensky Esports entering this match more disciplined. So I hope that IPT is prepared for that. IPT is a veteran in this PGS, so
that's right.
I have high expectations for IPT.
And you know what? I expect Jensky, with the amount of misplays that they had previously because, and they again they attributed that to poor shot calling. I expect them to maybe fix that up a bit more coming into this game because you've had a week to practice that. And meanwhile, we have a matchup here with IVLC and Spear. It's a great discrepancy again for KDA, and although the GPM, you'll be surprised, Spear is in the lead.
So because Spear tends to like to power farm in the jungle, whereas Ivalis, he tends to be this jungler to be more proactive.
Right,
And
and
really wants
ganks.
those
Yeah.
kill participation.
And what do you think? Do you think that's working out for Jenski so far, though? I mean, focusing on the wave clearing of your jungles, it does help you become a bit tankier for clashes, but it somehow leaves your lanes a bit more vulnerable than having a very proactive laner, like I said with Ivalis.
I think Spear is entering this game not that of an underdog compared to Ivalis' KDA because Spear tends to really power farm, and I think that complements the champions he picks.
You think he's gonna do that as well with the J4 though? Because I think, of course, J4 more focused on ganks.
He does have the mobility, but I don't think Spear will be going for these hard engages. He has to wait for level 3.
Yeah.
Whereas
exactly.
Ivalis, he can gank at level 2.
That's a great advantage that they have for Gragas as well, even though it is AP again. They will have to work around that, and I really want to see this team from Jenski maybe make better macro decisions, because that's something that's been lacking for the past, and I really hope they did pull together with the shot calling. I like the composition so far, and we'll see maybe where the point of power right now with Jenski, maybe more on the Caitlyn and more on the Orianna, and the top lane though with Suzaku against this Renekton. I expect I've seen Renektons fall hard on their faces facing Kennons. Meanwhile, I've seen Kennen build Frozen Mallet on top and then power basically auto attack you to death. That's basically what's happening with a lot of the matchups, so even in AD. We've seen Reckless on the ULCS pick Kennen AD carry and just pick Frozen Mallet a lot of the times, and I don't think that's something that will happen here, but that is a possibility.
I think we'll be seeing that pretty shortly onto the Rift. Let's see how Imperium Pro Team and Jenski Esports will play this one out.
Yeah, so far we will see, because I like the mid lane of IPT as well, controlling everything that's gonna happen in this game. You'll see most likely Ari roam down bot side or maybe roam top side, because I think bot side is actually again really safe, like you mentioned with Jenski because of the Tom Kench.
Let's all see it in action. We'll be loading up onto the Rift.
Alright, we are now loading onto the Rift. Again, it is IPT, Imperium Pro Team versus Jenski Esports.
Let's see how this level 1 plays out. IPT on the blue side, while Jenski on the red side. This is the first game of match 2. One of a high-stake match for both teams.
And of course, I expect, again, we were referring earlier to the early ganks that will happen most likely on the side of IPT, because they want to be able to focus out the bottom lane. Although, again, on the bottom lane, I think Jenski is starting to put focus, and they're very sneaky on it. I don't think this was spotted.
This is the play style that Jenski likes to play, because when it comes to cheese, leave it to Jenski to show you how it is done.
That's right. And Jenski, they have been successful in some plays that they have made, but not. It hasn't been 100%. And like you don't want to do that against a very experienced team like IPT. I mean, 7 times out of 10, they will sniff out that cheese, and they will eat that right away. So
I think when it comes to IPT, they know what they're handling, and I think Jenski, this is their second split entering the PGS. They had been performing really well in the spring split, but when it comes to summer split, they tend to fumble because of recent roster changes. But I think this is something that Jenski has to work on in terms of synchro.
And I like the roster changes, you highlighting the roster changes. I mean, what kind of the mindset that gives roster swaps into these games. It's kind of hit and miss sometimes. And although we have been playing for quite a while now, we're in week 4. Do you think that is enough time to really enable a team to get into the mood, into the sync that they need in order to fight a team like IPT, which has been very high caliber?
Yes, I think for IPT side, they prepare for it, but I don't think we should underestimate JSK entering this match too, as they are obviously the underdogs compared to IPT's huge experience. They have faced off against the big names like Mineski, even made to the finals in the PGS last split. So for JSK to get a win on the IPT, they have to shut out bot lane, in my opinion. So when it comes to the bot lane composition, I think Hate on that Xayah with the Karma really complements well because of Xayah's kit. Whereas for in the ball and JSK side, A-Style does have the safety thanks to Blaze.
So yeah, Saya that you mentioned, it's been having great win rates so far. Again, 100% on Marky on TME. But how well do you think Hate will emulate that on this side? Because sometimes, oh my god, like what we're seeing right now.
Hate though gets ignited. He does burn his heal and flash, but I don't think that's enough. A-Style picks up the first blood.
And this is not showing up well. And again, first blood on the lane that should be winning. That is on the side of JSK. This is the lane where they need power, where they need that ability to scale up. So that's kind of risky on the side of IPT giving that away. They were not able to spot that gank right away. And wow. Amazing play there.
Amazing first blood for A-Style because thanks to this first blood, I think this will enable A-Style to propel himself further against Hate because Hate tends to not position himself properly as a heavy position-oriented champion like Xayah. So this is something that he has to work on. And in terms of warding, they have to really establish deep wards.
That's right, and that's gonna come in a few moments, maybe in like the minute 8 or maybe minute 10, where Blaze will have the wards to pull that off. But so far, they will start to just slow down and keep the lanes in control.
Yes,
because they will not be able to sneak the wards in.
Yeah, you can't sneak the wards in, and when you keep the lanes in control, it makes other laners have a hard time. Spear goes in for the flash. Not yet, quite yet. He used his flash.
Yeah,
that was pretty weird. So I think the combo was EQ than flash, but instead he just flashed into his flag. So that's more of a mechanical error for Spear.
This is good. I think this is the nerves coming in for Spear. He wanted to make a play that was a bit out of proportion to what he was trying to do.
A bit too aggressive, too ambitious. I don't think the flash was necessary. He did not even have his Cataclysm.
Yeah, even though I think even if he did pull that off somehow into Light, I think Light still has a flash to get out of that. And if they did do that, Spear is going to be in a bad position.
Yes, and I think because of this, Spear will have a disadvantage when it comes to ganking other lanes. When he reaches level 6, he won't have the flash available. He cannot make those fancy plays with the Cataclysm and that huge gap closer. But right now, in the top lane, Whistle trying to set up a gank for Spear fails because, like as you said, a cannon in the top lane will give a neck than hell.
That's right, and again, Spear being spotted out and not really giving any rewards to JSK, it only gives IPT a lot more advantage because they can call that out and say, hey, the jungle is here in the mid, hey, the jungle is here on top, and they're not really doing anything, so why not make a play somewhere else in the map?
And I think the play that made that happen in the bot lane is gonna give Hate a harder time. We did see that A-Style pick up that pickaxe. One of an item you wanna get as a KD when you want a short spike of damage on a Caitlyn. So Hate, when it comes to trade-ups, I think he will have a harder time.
Yeah, that's very early too, because it's gonna allow you to catch up on CS, and I think he already did. That's the base damage that's given by the pickaxe will actually allow a lot of more CS, and of course it's gonna give Xayah because right now Xayah is outranged, and that's gonna keep pushing in further and further once you get into the end of the laning phase.
So I think because of this will give JSK an easier time in terms of controlling their bot side, but Spear did rush the TMS. He really wants to make his approach to bot lane. Here comes Whistle going all in with the dominance. He lands a strong with a slicing maelstrom. Shadow is not yet, Suzaku, sorry, is not yet going to be going all in.
Yeah, I like the aggression being shown here by Whistle. That's where you want to be when you are on top lane and you're against a cannon that doesn't have his items yet.
Oh, so we're now seeing Ivalis making his way in.
Oh,
Whistle
no.
goes in with a double slash and dies. He does not have an escape. Gets the body slam stun. Whistle goes in for the flash. Does not land his kill.
Ivalis, despite not having the level 6 on the Gragas with the exploding cask, he was able to pull that off because of positioning from Whistle. I think he went overconfident there.
And now Hay is trying to poke down Astel, but he is a Caitlyn. He does have that superior range. But Spear, I like how he's trying to commit himself to the mid lane, but he will be in a disadvantage. Ivalis is there. He did rush the Tiamat, so he cannot finish up his Warrior's Enchantment. He will lack that damage.
And I think it's kind of risky. Having a Tiamat, of course, it's great for wave clear, and this is showing again with the characteristic that we gave here earlier with the power farming jungle. That's something he's gonna do here on this Jarvan, obviously, with the Tiamat, but I'm not sure if that's optimal because you do have tanks in the form of Whistle and Blaze, but you also want to be a bit tanky for those ganks if you're doing it.
And I think that's a big setback for Spear because his red buff got taken away. That's 100 gold
That's
EXP wise, so
It's kind of risky, right?
he can't offer that same pressure he wants to as a Jarvan.
So he's gonna be. So when that happens, he's gonna be relegated into power farming again because he doesn't have that red buff. He doesn't have that ability to slow.
And Whistle is really having a hard time in the top lane, so he really has to depend on Spear. But when he's delayed like that, Spear cannot even cope up and help his laners, especially Whistle on a Renekton. He's on a ticking time bomb, so if he does not scale properly, he will fall off.
Yeah, very standard keystones here. And on this Renekton, he obviously is not going for tank. He has that Thunderlord's decree. And Syed, although of course these AD carries, they're focusing more on Bloodlust for that sustain.
Yes, actually, in my personal opinion, I think the Fervor of Battle really complements Renekton's kit pretty well. The Ruthless Predator will stack it up pretty quickly, and that gives a huge burst damage. So it's up to his itemization. He has to catch up. A CS of 78 to 63 is really bad, especially when your first item has to be a Ninja Tabi against a ranged champion like Kennen.
So yeah, that, oh my god.
Oh, Ivalis really wanted to kill Whistle there. He did waste his flash and his explosive cask.
Yeah, a bit of a fumble there, and you see that Spear also has this gank
Oh
in
boy,
mind.
here comes Ivalis, does not have his flash. He is almost in kill range for Spear. And he flashes in for it. Slashing Master is off. Dominance popped up by Whistle, going in for Suzaku. Stuns him with a Ruthless Predator, but Spear gets taken out by Suzaku's range. Suzaku goes in for the flash in. He has the red buff. He is stacking up those stuns. Light is here, same as Fade.
Yeah, Lightning Rush out, but Flash is in. A bit of the moment of the indecision there.
Light going for a 1v1.
Oh!
Fade flashes in with his shockwave to land onto Light. Light pops the lands the ignite, but will not finish up Fade.
That was a mechanical flashing out there for Fade. He carried the ball and went in with the shockwave for himself. Amazing
Great
play there.
play from Fade. Quick decisiveness will entitle him an assist and a kill for his laner.
Of course, that nets him the flash, but he will keep that cleanse, which will help later. Meanwhile, Light very burned on both his summoners, and he did not even show anything for it.
And Suzaku's aggression with the very ballsy move of flashing in, even though he's in very low health.
Yeah.
Just goes to show how comfortable he is kiting that Renekton.
And yeah, of course, it also attributes to the shot calling. Because once Suzaku heard that, hey, I'm going in, and Light is going on top, he really wants to go in, and he trusted the call even though he was really low.
I wonder if Genxia also has the same shot call because they tend to lack in that field.
Ah, yeah, right, of course. And shot calling, in regard to shot calling, of course, we see that JSK somehow is calling for top.
Whistle not is gone, but I think he's in kill range. He does get knocked up, get some turret hits in. Fade is there. He gets the kill and the red buff.
That is communication right there. First,
good.
Jarvan goes in for the ultimate, and then after the follow-up, he goes out. And we see here Light, he tries to charm onto Fate, and he thinks he has Fate in the place where he wants, but suddenly a shockwave. Once Fate realizes that he's not in position, he flashes in with himself, and that results in Light being killed by Whistle. So great. Again, we have to highlight that outplay. And the last minute decision making showed by Fate.
And Light did try to predict Fate's movement but failed, so Light did use his flash and ignite, not entitling him to any kills, so he needs more gold. He needs to scale up.
Yeah, what we're seeing here is a bit of an item discrepancy on the mid lane. Although I think what kind of made the difference here
Tower
is on
dive,
top,
Eminent.
on the bottom.
Oh,
Oh,
Ivalis just gives them a ride away from 4-man gangs of IPT. The first turret is still not getting taken down. Here comes Whistle going for the flash and dominance with follow up by Fierce Cataclysm. They're under the turret, but I think they can take it with Whistle securing the kill.
two big guys flanking onto Suzaku there. He didn't really have his flash on, and Jenski knew. And that's why they went for it, even though he was under tower. Meanwhile, IPT on the bot side, they're able to trade one. So basically just the kill for nothing.
Yeah, with a 2-5 kill score, they're happy with that, but the first turret does go to IPT. Possibly maybe the Ocean Drake may be at stake. All of them are at top lane.
So even though Jenski does have the gold lead, IPT wants to go for the dragon, which will a bit equalize it, since they actually really need some of this regeneration, especially for the mid lane and the top lane.
Oh, Spear
no.
going into the aggressive dive with
Wow.
Fade backing him up with the Shock Blast. That's going to be a kill for his team. Wow, Light did not expect that Shockwave.
The decision making for Fade and the rest of Jenski, they know they have these opportunities to go in, and they are not afraid to pull the trigger. So wow. Speaking of shot calling, I think they are getting themselves into the rhythm here, partner.
Yeah, I love how Jenski is playing this game so far. They are in sync. Their minds are connected. They know how to follow up. So I hope they still maintain this, because when Jenski in game 1 previously, they had a good start. Mid to late game, they fumbled. They kind of tilted. They didn't know who to follow. They had their own mindset. And I think that discipline is needed for Jenski to even have hopes in making the playoffs. Note that this is a team entering the PGS in the spring split, they made it to the playoffs. So let's hope that they do it again this time.
So they do have the artillery, they have the armor, the weapons to do it. They just need to know how to pull the trigger, basically. And we have seen them make the plays that, like what they're doing right now. They're very decisive, and they seem to be a cohesive team that knows when to strike and know how to go around the map. And they just need to keep this up. Meanwhile, on IPT though, a bit of falter here and there, but the lead is not that far off.
Yes, and I think for top side, they are catching up for Whistle, but he will tend to fall off in the late game. Suzaku will be playing the split pushing playstyle on that cannon, whereas Light, he is farming in that bottom lane, but I think Jenski spots him here. Is trying to chase him down. He does get charmed and slowed. Light might make it away from that onslaught. Wow, a pretty close call for Light.
Yeah, so somehow the Spear working here with the Jarvan, he's able to capitalize on the early Warriors buff for his jungle item and the Tiamat, and that's resulting in ganks where you almost kill the one that you're ganking solo.
The fact that he started with a Tiamat is gone because he had 4 assists, 1 kill, enough money, enough gold for him to actually make that Warriors enchantment. But IPT sees this opportunity. They will be taking the outer mid lane turret. Let's see if it will take him down. There is some respawn coming in, not yet. Fade will be trading off with the bot lane. I don't think the mid lane will be taken down just yet.
Yeah, it's kind of scary because now Fade knows, the rest of Jenski knows that they're in the lead most likely because of the amount of towers and the lead that they have accrued. And will this translate into confidence? Will this result in more really scary plays? We'll have to see that because IPT, they're fighting back.
Oh, they take down a mid lane outer turret with Blaze. The save for Asa. Suzaku slows Whistle down with the Borg. He is trying to get his revenge in. CC locked in. Whistle pops his dominance, trying to get away, but Suzaku is still giving chase. There is a lightning charge. He does collect his stun onto Suzaku with the dominance. Suzaku forced over the wall for his flash, and Blaze there for the assist.
And that was a great support there from Blaze. He was sort of telegraphed already that Suzaku wants this dive, and he kind of forced the flash because of that. Right now though, the rest of IPT is gonna back off, and they're gonna try to reset, and they want to collect because they're just 2k behind.
I just like how from the first blood stuff in the bot lane with that A-style god, it transitioned towards the top lane where they are having this flexibility that can they lane swap anywhere they want and really drive away Light from his resources. He can't farm that properly because when bot lane lost, Hade went to the mid lane. Light was pushed to the bot lane. What happened there? Spear tried to catch him off guard. He burned so much resources just to escape from Spear.
That's right, and that's resources that the resources that you would rather use offensively rather than defensively. So definitely some sort of confidence building up here for JSK. We'll see if they'll be able to keep it up right now.
If they ever sweep this match, they have a higher chance of making it to the playoffs. So I hope for JSK, their dream does happen. But for IPT, this is a veteran team we are talking about. So I don't think they will go down without fighting. Suzaku gets locked down by the Cataclysm, and the Ruthless Predator whistles on a killing spree. And I think Suzaku cannot do the style he wants, where he's split pushing, because JSK will always be breathing down his neck.
Yeah, that's because of the item. Oh, speaking
a
of,
face check by Shadow costs him his flash. Hayes, though, trying to find out Blaze, but that's a reward for JSK. Removing the flash from Shadow enables that playmaking move from Karma.
yeah, it's kind of scary because that face check that you don't want to do a face check at this point in the game where we're nearing 20 minutes and you have no idea where the rest of your enemy is. So it's kind of becoming more and more difficult for IPT to push this vision line because of that as well. Because the rest of JSK, they have basically every member has the ability to maybe one-shot you, and that's gonna go into your mind.
Yes, and we're seeing how IPT, from this knowledge, they are trying their best to stall the game. See, Suzaku, no matter where you go, JSK is there with Spear and Whistle, shutting him down. Suzaku can't catch a break.
Spear is really literally becoming a weapon here for
his
for
team.
Whistle.
Yeah,
amazing.
Not giving him a breathing space, really shutting him down. Everywhere Suzaku goes, Spear is there to shut him down, not letting him split push, and it will be Whistle doing the work.
And you can see it on the face of Whistle there. He was really happy with that gank, and this has been happening over and over again. For Suzaku, he's really having a hard time, and how will they get bounced back from this? This is going to be a bit more difficult because the goal lead is starting to approach 4K.
Light is also having a hard time because his mid lane was not that far behind, but the fact that the bot lane and the top lane did bubble, it opened up JSK's opportunity to get more map control, and that's what happened.
And that's right, it's becoming harder for Light to make the assassinations that he needs to do in order to get ahead in this game. That's usually what you want to do as an early game Ahri, but those chances are slowly getting taken away from you by JSK.
And JSK is setting their eyes and goals really high. They want that stage in the playoffs. Let's see if they will make it away, but IPT will be trying to shut them down. Almost 20 minutes into the game, JSK has the Infernal, whereas IPT has the Ocean. The next trick will be Mountain, and the Baron is live.
Yeah, I can't really count IPT out, because of course Hate, he's still trying to build up on that Xayah, and of course we all know Xayah, he's a hyper carry. No matter how AP, no matter how much utility he has, he's still really gonna be categorized as a hyper carry, and that's the role that he will need to fulfill in order to get IPT back to this lane, because you can pick on Suzaku all you want, you can pick on Light all you want, but once you get Hate rolling, the rest of JSK will have a hard time when it comes to maybe the late game, once you have 3 items completed. Because right now, Xayah is starting to build that up, because you see gold starting to get racked up onto Xayah.
So all the bags are onto Hate. Let's see if he will perform well and carry his team towards the late game. And Light is slowly catching up. He does have the need to see Long Rod and a Morelos, so this will help in terms of bursting down the enemies.
Yeah, because what I think initially what IPT wanted to happen was they wanted to have Suzaku on that split push cannon, keeping the waves in check. But right now, since Suzaku's having a hard time doing that, they will have to rely again on the AD carry, which is basically the fallback. Because once you're not able to split push as a top laner, you'll have to settle into becoming an initiator in the battle.
So let's see how JSK will play this out. Traps are placed by A-Style to provide more control. Shadow is there. Ultimates are all off. Light has his Flash and Ignite. Maybe a collapse will happen. We'll see. But IPT knows better.
And I kind of give the advantage here a bit to Jenski's side because right now their ward coverage is very excellent on the rest of the map. They
like
have
how
one on the Raptors.
Light is aiming for A-Style. A-Style's free to open. That's
And-
moving disengaged. Ivan goes in for the explosive cast. A-Style gets this position. Light is there trying to pull him down. Here comes Whistle. There's the stun. Phase finishes him off. Light trying to get in, but gets knocked out by the characters. The spear is very low. Light goes in with a charm, gets connected onto Whistle. Whistle's very low. There is the slashing master. There's the flashing by Shizaku. There is the stun, and Whistle trying to fight back. There is the ruthless predator stun, but Spear just dodges an orb of deception while Blaze is just walking away. A-Star is left alone. I think the cooldown's up, but still Light will finish off Blaze.
Instant assassination there, and there is Light starting on these items, and I think IPT is getting back into this game right now because of that play there from Suzaku. He came in a bit later, but man, did he play.
At the cost of Blaze's
Of course,
life,
yeah.
A-Star survives. So IPT, great footwork there. They knew how to play their skills correctly and their resources.
In the start of that match, I think Jenski was in the lead. They were starting to initialize the plays that they wanted with the J4, but I think a bit of humble there. We'll see on the replay here. A flash in for Ivalis, and that's great. And A-Star was able to get out of there, but the teleport comes down. And I think they really executed very well. At this point, Spear with the misplay there, he went flagged and dragged in, but flashed out. And because of that, I think Jenski got tilted a bit. And now the positioning. Because of that, Suzaku was able to capitalize of the positioning. He was able to lock it a lot. Because of the lack of damage though, not so much of a cleanup. Not the cleanup that you want. But right now, because of that, here, that's a great max range orb there from Light.
Yes, and from that setback, Jenski is having a bit of a harder time. So this will be coming IPT's moment of truth. They have time to shine. Let's come back from our deficit.
Yeah, and the deficit definitely thinned out. Basically, it's 1K. And at 24 minutes, 1K is essentially nothing. And I think IPT is now feeling it. They're feeling the train. And they know they've actually completed items as well. Ruin King and for their cannon, of course, he will be able to do a bit of assassination. And on the top lane, though, I think Renekton is just gonna keep focusing on split pushing because I like the Whistle is still able to split push despite the dangers, the threats of IPT, and it's really dangerous the split push that Whistle is doing because he's not behind any wards at all.
Yes, very deep inside enemy territories, but Suzaku is there for the respawn, and Whistle is not yet there. So the fact that Suzaku has this constant fear that Spear might be around the map, I think that's enough message for Suzaku. So Spear gets this false sense of security thanks to the fear of Suzaku.
I like that Jenski is basically making Spear a weapon, right? They're throwing them everywhere they can. And even though they did win that last engage, I think they're still pretty much ahead when it comes to initiation. Because they do have the tools. Although Ivalis, I think he was really outplaying on that earlier mid lane fight. I think Jenski still has the power in initiating.
Well, when it was the early phase of the game, Suzaku has complete control of the top lane. But Spear spots this and then shuts him down.
Yeah.
Driving him to the bottom lane, and then he shuts him down there again. So
twice.
The lead that Suzaku had is gone. So he can't be this aggressive cannon split pusher because Whistle will be there to counter his push, and Whistle has better wave clear compared to a cannon.
That's right, and he's actually a bit he's supposed to be leveling at this point. He should be really ahead, but he's not ahead by that much because he's given away so many kills to the rest of Jenski.
And this is a dangerous game by Jenski's playing because from what happened in the mid lane, the clash, the teleport play of Whistle actually set Jenski off because of the aggressiveness of Whistle under the turret. This gave IPT more room to roam around. Light is on an Ari, very mobile, same as Hate on a Xayah. So this is kind of scary for Jenski. And now, they're actually starting this mountain drake.
Yeah, and that's kind of scary that Jenski kind of faltered there because I really thought they had the drift. Right now on the Mount Drake though,
Ibanez goes in on to play. There's the explosive cast for the thick shield will sustain him. JSK Esports takes the Mountain Drake. The flash breaks down. Fade lands the Mechanic Cleanser. Fear goes in with his Mechanic Cleanser, but Suzaku from the back line goes out to Fade. Fade gets stunned, locked down, and the cleanser will not help him at all. Light is just kiting Whistle. Here's some engaged by Spear. And there is a flash over the wall by Suzaku, giving him that double kill.
and I think Hate, that was really great of him to kite back on the backside of that fight. I think he was just having a hard time taking down the targets because of a bit of a lack of damage, because Essence Reaver and Phantom Dancer is more of a defensive build, so he was not able to do in the assassinations. But otherwise, it was really well executed by IPT. They're building towards later games.
I love how IPT is just toying JSK's resources. They start a fight. Okay, let's let JSK start a fight on us and let them waste everything they've got. And when everything is dried out, because JSK's composition is burst, while IPT is constant damage. They have Hate, Cannon, and a Dragon. But here is the replay for more detail.
Yeah, on the replay there, after the Dragon, they were actually starting to go into kiting. Whistle was trying to do his best to back out the front line with Light, but right now, because of that, Hate is able to kite everyone else. And again, I was saying damage from Hate is not super burst, but he's able to sustain even by himself. Even though Karma was really low in that fight, he was able to do it on his own with just minimum amount of support, and that's great. That's great for Hate, that he's able to do these even though he's not really ahead. He's 1-1-4, and he's building defensive, but he's able to still win fights like that.
Yes, and the fact that JSK likes to play it high risk, high reward, especially that Mountain Drake, okay, they got it. But at what cost? 7-9 in the kill score. IPT is catching up with a 2k gold lead this time. And I don't think the lead that JSK had on Whistle and Spear, they're falling off, which is a very crucial mistake that JSK made in the Dragon Pit, and also a warning signal for them. Right now, the Baron is in the hand of IPT. Whistle.
Is he spotted? He spotted!
I'm sensing something! You're not going anywhere, Whistle! Thanks for the wasted teleport, and Whistle is going all in, but I don't think that's gonna help out. Light spots him, and Suzaku's sentence is tingling, gets a shutdown.
I like the revenge play here from IPT. Suzaku is like, okay, I see you. Oh, you want to see what it felt like? Here you go. You get shut down by yourself with the help of your team, and that's great teamwork and follow-up by IPT.
Suzaku smelling the fear of Whistle in that brush, so that's more of a gut feel that Suzaku had, or it was Whistle's mistake for over pushing that lane. So with Whistle down, and right now the hands of IPT does have the Baron, so this is a go signal for IPT. Hey, Whistle's gone. Let's try and push this turret. But when you're facing up a Caitlyn, especially A Styles, trap position, it's like, please don't go inside my house.
Yeah, because you have these. I'm gonna keep building up the door that you're breaking down.
It's like JSK does not have a welcome mat. It's
Right.
like when you're at the front of JSK, it's barbed wires. Please do not enter. I still want to make it to playoffs.
Yeah, and if your IPT wants to enter, they're gonna have to put on full body armor, because the way that they do that is by building up small advantages. Because they do. It's kind of scary that IPT can't enter, even though they have the Baron buff though, right? Because of the lack of instant damage in the side of the AD carry. But I think they're gonna make up for it by overall macro, because now they're splitting the defensive forces of JSK. They're going in on the top with Light. They're going in the mid. Although it's kind of scary though that they are able to do this, because JSK is now they're putting JSK in a bad position where they need to panic. And if JSK panics, what's gonna happen here is like a replay of what happened last week, where they seemed like they weren't really following a single shot.
Yeah, and they had a good start in the game 1.
Right.
So I hope that this is not a pattern that we are facing, because JSK would really want to win this game, maybe aiming for a clean sweep to get themselves a higher chance in making the playoffs, whereas IPT, they will do anything to shut them down.
And that's really what IPT wants. I think IPT is really confident. They did falter here on the draft a bit for the early, because they knew that, I think they already knew that they were gonna lose a bit of the early because of the draft that they created with the Kennen, with the Saya. But I think they're making up for it now, and I think they're still pushing into the advantage that they have, which is playing safe on the Zaya and making sure that the waves are gonna be managed. And you have a composition that can split push if need be. So that's what IPT is going for.
And right now, IPT is going for that Infernal Drake, establishing some vision control. There is the sweeping lens. Kind of just missed that last ward.
Yeah. And this is what IPT is good at doing. The reason why we saw that kill earlier with Whistle is because of the ward line. If you could make a replay there on that moment, you'll see that the river was absolutely blue. Everything was blue up to the jungle of Jenksky, and that's the reason why they were able to do that. And that's what IPT excels doing. And I think they will keep pushing their advantage until they get all the bullets that they need to take down the defense that Jenksky has.
Yes, and now this is gonna be another arsenal for IPT. If they take this Infernal Drake, this will just boost the power of Light, Suzaku, and for Hate.
So, yeah, they will take this Infernal Drake, and I think what Jenksky has to do to get back into map control, because right now they are losing in map control, correct? And if they really want to get that back, they really should group together, push the ward coverage even further down into the river, and maybe capitalize on small positional errors that IPT is creating, because IPT is not always grouped up. This is a composition that needs to be grouped up in order to be efficient, and it's not always the case. So I think there are small chinks in the weapons and the armor of IPT that Jenksky can take advantage of, but they're really not. They're not pushing in, and they're just letting IPT push down waves.
And Suzaku puts himself back in his place, like, I want to be the split pushing cannon, and he has it right now. Because Whistle and Spear, I think they're falling off into the late game, because looking at the itemization from IPT, they are catching up a lot. Whereas the KDA of Light is not that impressive, but his itemization is on point. He has 4 items locked in, and also for Fate, he has 4 items and a blasting 1. So Light, in terms of damage, is not that far behind.
That's right. And I think Light can also take advantage of the damage. Because earlier we said he can't really assassinate, but because of the penetration that he has right now, I think he really can. It's just a matter of positioning at this point, and who makes the smallest misstep, because we're nearing 34 minutes, and both teams are actually, they're really fired up, and they have the firepower to pull off engages. But I think IPT will opt for the safe macro into the Baron, and what I think Jenksy should not let this happen at all.
Yeah, if they give this Baron to IPT, this spells bad news.
And right now, because of Suzaku split pushing on the bot lane, it's giving Jenksy even a harder time into setting up vision for the Baron. Meanwhile, on the side of IPT, they're already waves ahead, and they're only they're running in and then putting wards and running out. So it's kind of scary.
Bad situation for Jenksky right now. Whistle cannot even catch up. Fate is coming in, but Suzaku will be getting away from Whistle's range.
And expect Suzaku to constantly do this on the bottom lane until IPT pulls the trigger on this Baron.
I think they will be going for it though. They can, because Suzaku has the split pushing power.
That's right. And Suzaku also has that Guardian Angel for the more security. And even if he does die, he will have enough time to stun Whistle again and make his escape.
Look at that. Suzaku just ignored Whistle. He's just going straight for the turret.
And then Suzaku is making himself very at home on the bottom lane of Jenksky. And I think that's going to keep continuing. I don't know until when Jenksky can hold this defense.
Okay, here it comes. Jenksky Esports setting up some vision, gets denied by the control ward. 4 members in the Baron side. It's getting taken out pretty quickly. Let's see how Jenksky will respond to this. There is the reset for the Baron.
And somehow there is a ward there for Jenksky. They will see, even though it is disabled by that control ward. They will see if they still manage to pull the trigger. But right now, I think it's coming down into whether or not IPT will pull the trigger, because Jenksky is being very calm, very cautious, and being defensive, because right now Suzaku is on the bot lane, but he's not able to touch the turret because of the wave clear of Whistle.
But he's not touching it right now, so...
Oh, he is now.
By time is the
Oh.
favor of Suzaku. So here it is, the split. Well, 2 members at bot lane. Light is going to be going in, so this is IPT's chance to try and contest the Baron. There's Light, we see Kate, and I think Shadow is fresh in the base. He will be joining in shortly.
That is very bad right now. You showed your cards already.
Oh.
And now,
Teleport coming in, it will be Whistle cancelling his teleport because Suzaku is just not giving him a vacation, whereas Suzaku is this oppressive boss saying, you get
Oh my
no
God.
vacation time, let me just take your inhibitor, then you can start resting.
patience has been rewarded for Suzaku, and I think he's gonna take a kill.
Whistle is impatient, going on to Suzaku, gets locked out by that
Ooh.
CC locked out flash his whole first. Whistle gets stunned under 2 Nexus turrets. Fade is there for the respawn, but the Guardian Angel will be reviving shortly.
What?
Shockwave missed timing, but still, Fade will take the shotdown goal. Spear
Oh
goes
my
in,
God.
fails to steal. IPT has the Baron.
Spear with a 50-50 there. I didn't think he was gonna go for it, but he really did. And because of that, I think the base of Jenski is a bit more open now. Great plays there for Suzaku for enabling IPT to pull that off. I mean, you really did show your cards everything. The teleport, the Tom Kench ultimate, everything was showed in the side of Jenski, and that gave IPT the confidence to go for that Baron, go for that inhibitor, and Suzaku even go for that kill.
Yes, I mean, because of the pressure that Suzaku brought in the bot lane, that transition to the Baron. IPT got the Baron. Suzaku may have died in the base, but he took down Whistle. He took down the inhibitor turret. That is pretty worth.
Yeah, he got so much attention just pushing up the bottom lane. And I think that's actually a role as a Kennen and Suzaku. He wants to get attention while the rest of the team goes for these big objectives like the Baron. And I think the next one, the Elder, is going to be set up now by IPT, and they are pushing their vision forward even further.
The Elder Drake will be live in 5 seconds. IPT establishing some vision and also denying the vision of Jenski.
And that's what you really want to do, IPT. Security on that vision, and they do have the confidence to take it down, but I think this is a bit risky.
Spear is making a slow approach in. A-Star setting up some traps in the choke points. Ibelis cannot do much. 4 members, 5 of Jenski onto the Elder Drake. Shadows on the side. Hade is going there. Spear goes in onto Hade. He immediately gets bursted by Hade. And Suzaku goes in with a slicing Chaos Storm. CC locked out for Whistle. He's trying to get away. A-Star is there for the kiting. Suzaku is very low, but it'll be Light popping his sword, just fading out Blaze. Blaze gets shot down by Suzaku, and A-Star gets popped by Hade. And that is just clean up for IPT.
Wow, I did not expect Jenski to go for that. Spear, he was the one who went down first. And contrary to what you should do in situations like that, you should be the one to die last, because you are the one that will have the smite. So if your enemy finds out you're dead, they're gonna be super confident, and that's what happens. And I think IPT wants to finish this right now.
Yeah, right now IPT will be securing the first victory in Game 1 of Match 2 with Jenski actually fumbled in the Elder Drake. They forced the Elder Drake, knowing that the IPT 5 members already there and their bot lane was overpushed, plus IPT had the Baron.
So that's game 1 in favor of IPT with a very fumbly Elder Drake fight that we saw. I mean, again, I did not like the engage by Spear. He could have done that a bit later, maybe, once everyone was a bit in. But he did that just basically on 1 or 2 members, and he got deleted by Xayah because of that.
We did see that Spear went on to Hate and the Shadow. That was just pure embarrassment because Spear went in to try and lock him down. But in short, he just killed himself. He was like, he just committed suicide just there, plain sight. Hayden's like, you go into me? He didn't even deal damage.
Yeah, and now IPT, even though the scoreline is a bit more subdued, a bit lower than expected.
Oh, look at that damage by Suzaku. Obviously, he has been mowing down Whistle, and from that playstyle, also pushing out the bot lane. This entitled IPT for more control of the map and securing the first game.
That's right, IPT with a slow push, slow win, slow build-up of items.
Patience.
Patience, exactly, that enabled them to take this fight against Jenski.
So guys, there you have it. That has been match 2 of Game 1 between Imperium Pro Team against Jenski Esports, with Imperium Pro Team securing the first victory of Game 1. We will be having our Game 2 after a short break. We have been your shoutcasters, I am Vulcan, and with me is Rockhard. You just watched the Backest Pro Gaming Series 2017 Summer Split. Drive your energy, and we'll be back after a short break. Moving disengaged, I will goes in for the explosive cast. Aesop gets this position. Light is there, trying to pull him down. Here comes Whistle. There's the stun. Fade finishes off. Light tries to get in, but gets knocked out by the Cataclysm. Spear is very low. Light goes in with a chop, gets connected on the Whistle. Whistle's very low. There's the slashing master. There's the flashing by Shizako. There is the stun, and Whistle trying to fight back. There is the Ruthless Spreader stun, but Spear just starts an orb of deception while Blaze is just walking away. Aesop's left alone. I think the cooldown's off, but still Light will finish off Blaze.
Instant assassination there, and
there's the explosive cast for the big shield will sustain him. Jenski Esports takes the mountain drink. The flash breaks down. Spade lands the Cataclysm. Spade goes in with his Cataclysm, but Shizako from the back line goes out to Spade. Spade gets stunned, locked down, and the cleanse will not help him at all. Light is just kiting Whistle. Here's the engage by here. And there's the back over the wall by Shizako, giving him that double kill. Their Spirit goes in onto Haze. He immediately gets bursted by Haze, and Suzaku goes in with a slashing Gale Storm. CC locked down for Whistle. He's trying to get away. Ace there for the kiting. Suzaku is very low, but it'll be Light popping his Sonya, spraying out Blaze. Blaze gets shot down by Suzaku, and Ace gets popped by Haze, and that is just green up for IPT.
wow, I did not expect Jenski to go for that spear. He was the one who went down first.
IPT will be securing the first victory in Game 1 of Match 2 with Jenski actually bumping in the Elder Drake. They forced the Elder Drake, knowing that IPT 5 members were already there and their bot lane is overpushed, plus IPT had the Baron.
That's Game 1